Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, where you are. So, we're welcoming you today to our online lectures on effective strategies for reading scientific paper and extracting the key informations. So, this session is especially important for the researcher and anyone who interested in the scientific field. And also, it would help you to develop the skills of that's needed to read and understanding the academic papers more efficiently. And also we hope you find these lectures valuable and insightful for your work and study. So thank you again for joining us today to this online lectures. So these lectures, we did this one every month. Sometimes we did online lectures based on our free times. So we try to share our little informations with others, like little skills with others. It may be help the other research also. So this research is did by the Research Club at Faculty of Forestry, University of Khartoum, in collaborations with Sudanese Research Foundations and those ambassadors. And also I have also other colleagues attending the sessions also. The encouragement to do this one, and we always encourage each other to share our experience with other research. So as we know, the reading, to reading a scientific paper, reading skills is not easy to learn. It's not easy, but also it's not that difficult. That because the reading, if you need to develop these skills, you need to master the skills of reading scientific paper fastly, but at the same time insightfully. That means you understand what you read exactly. This is come by practice. If you need to master, that means you need to practice this one. You need to read a lot of papers like this one. But before you starting reading a scientific paper, there are some points you should put it in your mind. You should identify these points. The first one, you should identify the purpose of reading. So why you need to read this paper? So why you need to read the scientific papers? For what? So you should have reasons. So as a researcher, we should have a clear idea of why we need to read a paper. For example, we need to read this paper because just we need to gain general understanding of the topic, or we need to looking for the specific informations in different parts of the papers, or just we need to read this paper just to evaluate the quality of study. I do not like most of us, when we read to write the scientific paper or new research paper, that means we have different parts. We have introduction. This is the part we need to write this one. Because if you need to write introduction, that means you should looking for the different papers, and then you should read the introductions and just to know how the authors write their introductions. So it's starting from which point and then ending by which point. So when you read different papers, that means how they organize and how they create a story. Because the introductions, it seems like a story, as if you need to track attention of your readers. You need to write, you start your introduction by the general informations or what you know exactly, and then to go deeply to what you don't know. So this is a gap, and then ending by a specific hypothesis or objective or research question. That means you need to try to answer these questions, or just to find the also to testing different hypotheses there. And the second point, you should put it in your mind before you're reading, also the specific content, how the scientific context. So scientific context, that means you need to understand how these papers related to the researcher's field of study, and whether it is a part of a specific area of knowledge or methodology. That means you're looking for it. Also, you should look for recency of the paper. That means ensure that this research paper is recently enough and relevant to the current research, especially in the field of that field involved rapidly or just developed rapidly or fastly. That means you need to always read as recent published papers just to know what is the new exactly. And also you should look for the authors and publisher. Could they check the credibility of the authors and also the institutions or the journal published this paper, because to assess the reliability of the provided information there. And also you should look for the structure of the paper, just to understand the general part of the papers, just to know like the different parts of the papers and how the authors write these different parts, just to know. And then because when you read more, that it will be easy for you to write the new papers and also to get what you need exactly or you're looking for. Because through these lectures, we will give different questions in each section. So this question can help you or leading you to get what you need exactly from that paper. And then after that, you can add more questions based on what you need exactly. Because you need to know like the different parts. So you need to read the abstracts and the also introductions, method, result, and discussions, just to facilitate the navigation through the different content of the papers. And also you should have the key questions. That means you should prepare different questions. So before you're reading that, when you have specific questions, you need to get answer for these questions. So from this paper, I need just to get information or answering this question only. It will be easy for you like to get what you need exactly. But if you don't have a questions, if you don't have a purpose, while you read, that means you only just reading, but sometimes you're losing your time only. Losing your time here, or lost. But you should put your mind some question that may researchers have some fundamental questions, so they seek answer from the papers. Such as sometimes you need to know the gap. Sometimes you need to know like what is the recent methodology that used by these authors in the paper, and also sometimes you need to look for the questions, so these people try to answer it. For the hypothesis, also they need does this study tested before? And also this is this example for the question, but there are many questions you should put it in your mind before you're starting the reading scientific paper. So that's the goal of this lecture. So as you know, like a scientific paper, it is the heart of science, the heart of science community, because that this paper is played like a central. It is a central point, a central and crucial role in the field of science, because most of the scientists trying to communicate their findings and also to share their results or the new discovery, just because they try to contribute to the knowledge of science. And also it is essential to learn how to read a paper quickly but insightfully. That means the reading skills is essentially for everyone who should master these skills. That means you should read fastly, and at the same time you understand what to read exactly, and you will be able to answer your question quickly. And also just you should identify the difference. You are able to extract the different information related to different keyword. You already put it in your mind, or you have different questions in your mind, but when you read, that means you will answer this question, and also you will be able just to share what you read exactly, or just to summarize this research paper for everyone. So everyone, if someone asks you about this paper, that you read it, you will be able to give him like a general overview about the paper. So what they talk about it, what is the new result. Otherwise, sometimes you will feel tired, because if the master, when you read, sometimes the paper takes a lot of time. But for those people who are mastering these skills, easily for them to read it fastly. But sometimes you feel tired, and then your mind like your brain be in a holiday, like sometimes just hope. You need to try again and again, but you will master this by practice. So if you need to develop these skills, it not come by watching or by listening to the lecture, but it come actually by practice. So that means you need to read a lot of papers. So reading a lot of papers, always you will get new terminology. That means you will get new vocabulary, so that they enrich your vocabulary. And also you know how the other researchers write their papers. So the way of writing also you will learn from reading scientific papers. Generally, like there are two types of scientific papers. You should know about it. This contain two types of informations. So these two types of scientific papers is review articles. So that means review article, they give a general overview of the scientific field or a topic by summarizing the data or the conclusion from the many studies already did before in one piece of paper. That means if you need to discover, you need to understand the general overview about your topic and what's already done. So it is the best for you like to start by reviewing paper, because it gives you all the literature review you need about this topic. And then also you will find the different gap. So this gap with the problem is not solved yet. So from that point, you can start your next research paper. And another type is primary research article. So primary research article, this contains original data. So this original data has come from the data that has collected from the field by also doing experiment or just collecting by surveying, sometimes questionnaire or whatever. But this is recent data collected, and then from this paper you try to write a paper and publish it. This is called original or primary research articles. There are a few also steps. There are a few ways just to distinguish between if this paper you try to read it, it is a review articles or primary research articles. So like in many cases, the authors, they write review. So labeling in the title, they write review. That means this paper is already review. It's come from just they collected different study already done. And sometimes you will not find review in the titles, but so when you come actually inside the paper, you will find different ideas just to differentiate between these two types. Also, if you're looking for the table, title of the table and title of the graph of the articles, you will find like a contain actual data, also it's contain a citation. So within the title of the figures and table, they put a citation. So this table is come from the paper written by these authors. And also sometimes the reviews articles sometimes does not have methods sections. So the method section sometimes is written because they show only from where they get these papers, from the website, from the Google Scholar Web of Science. They put a general, and also they put the questions, and this question they try to answer these questions by using this keyword just to collect the different information from the different website. But they don't have actual sections called methodology or method sections, describe the study area, describe the method used, just how they did the experiment in the field, and how they collect the data, and how they analyze this data. Okay, just if we ask ourselves, why we bother ourselves just reading a scientific papers? For what? Like we read the scientific papers instead of reading books or magazines or different sorts of informations. Sometimes because the journal papers are currently, because it's published recently, and every day you will find new articles in your field. That means you will be updated by this, updated in the field. And what is the new exactly, and what is the gap? But the textbook often sometimes is years out of the date. Books sometimes is published like a long year ago, but you can back to the book if you need to know the historical background of your field. And also because the journals generally, because mostly or most accessible means just that mean if you need to get information fastly, in the papers is easily to get it if you're looking for the website. The book, sometimes book is not for free, like it's not published for free. Sometimes it's printed only, it's not, they have online version, so it's not easy to access the information from that book. And also because we read the scientific paper, that means we need to get explanation on how the authors organize their data. Also, we need to get enough information or enough details, so that it means we will be able to replicate what you read about it. And also, like, just to find exactly what the latest development in the field, because this is the papers is always, you will find every day you will find a new paper, so every minute you will find a new paper already published in your field. That means you will know the latest development in the field, and also to find how a certain piece of research was done, like different research papers is already done. You will find that one in the journals or in the like when you read the papers. And also because one day you need to write a new paper, that means you need to read a lot of papers just to see the way of writing. So that means you will know the different style of writing and a different way of writing from different authors. That means also you raise your vocabulary in your field, and you'll be able exactly to start writing, because you already know the techniques of just how to write introduction and how to write the methodology and how to organize your result, how to to know the different way of organizing the data, like what is in the figure, in the table, correlation, something like that. And then how the authors discuss their result and how they compare it with other studies, and also how they write the conclusions and how they also write the recommendation for the future studies. Have you come like to just a general structure? So we need to identify. So this is a scheme, the articles, and identify it is a structure. So the structures, the most of the journals and the scientific field, they follow the standard format. Yeah, the most of them, they conventionally use the emerald format or emerald structures. That means the papers contain the titles, contain the abstracts, and then the introductions, methods, results, and then discussion, and finally the conclusions. That's one. And some of the journals, they put result and discussion together, and some journals, they separate these two sections. But each sections, they have different structure or different features. So if we need to write abstract, they have different features. So they have the abstract contain different informations. We will come to talk this one in academic slides. And also introduction, they have general features just to know how to write introductions and how to write the methods and which information should be included in the method, in the introduction, and in abstract, and also in the results and in the discussion. So when we come to reading a scientific papers, that means they have general questions, and be aware of your understanding. So when you're reading a scientific paper, so before you're reading, you put this question in your mind. So reading is an active task, but this question, they can help you. It seems like guidelines or guiding to helping you when you're reading a scientific paper. Firstly, that means, as I mentioned before, that means you need to identify the authors. So who are these authors? They're writing this paper, and what is the journal? So that means you need to know about the authors, and you need to know about the journals, because this question just you need to give a credibility of the work for the authors or for the institutions or journal publish this information. That means just you need to know, so just to trust about the information provided in this paper. And also, have I taken the time to understand all the terminology? So if the terminology mentioned in this paper or in this paper is easily for me to understanding easily, or just will take a lot of time to understand this terminology. if I go back, just I come back to read an article or overview, that because just it will help me to understand this work better. Then just to ask yourself, either I need to go back again to read this paper again and again, or just one time is enough for me to understand all the terminology and to summarize this paper. And then also to put also in your minds, like, am I spending too much time reading the less important part of these articles? Could just evaluate yourself. Like, just I took a lot of times to reading less important part. That means you should identify like which part is very important and essential to start from it, reading that one. And also, is there someone I can talk about the confusing part of these articles? That means if there any peer review or your colleague, your supervisor, or something, just you can discuss with him if it's difficult to understand. You get confusing of different terminology or different section in the paper. We are not understanding that sections, but you can discuss with your colleague, with your supervisor, with your even with the author itself. Like, if you don't understand something, you can contact the author directly to understand what this paper talk about it. So like that the general way of reading. So some of them they say like skimming. So like skim before you read. That means firstly, some of them they advise you like to just read the abstract, and then to reading the section and subsection headings. That means you need to read the abstract, the introduction, because the abstract they contain different information. That means you get the rationale or the purpose of the study, and then you get the methodology that's used to query the data, or you get the experiments, and then what is the type of analysis used in this paper, and what is the main finding of the result and the conclusions also. And if you read like the headings, that means you need to read the title and subtitles providing in the paper. That means just you get the overview about the paper, about this paper. And also you need to write like just to read the title of the figures and the tables, just to get overview like. And finally, just to read the conclusion itself. So the conclusion will give you like the general information to the summary findings and implication of the study on the paper. So this one you can get overview fastly about the paper, and then you identify who is the authors, what is the journals. If this work is good, is written well, that means just evaluate the English language, the general structure of the paper. And also you get the hypothesis or the questions this paper try to answer it. What is the main findings of this paper? What is the conclusion? What is the contribution of this paper and implication in the field of study? So when we come to the reading a scientific paper, sometimes like it's daunting task, but learning how to properly read every scholar's the articles also can make process much easier by practicing. By practicing, if you read many papers and then try to read, you will get also at that time you will be like faster. You understand the different parts of the scientific articles, and also this also can help the readers to understand different materials provided in this article. So first time, the first thing you should focus on it, the titles, because the title of the article they give the readers a lot of information about the content of the paper, and also the topic and the major ideas, and also the readers can expect the conclusion of the work. So let us to know like the different features. So if you need to know the different features of the different sections of the papers, let us look for the abstract. So the feature of the abstract like usually contain this kind of information, like the content the purpose of rationale of study. That means why they did this research, and also the methodology, how the authors did this research, and the results, so what they found exactly, and the conclusion, so what is mean, so what these results mean. So this is the general feature, so general structure of the abstract. If you need to write abstract, you should put this kind of information in your mind. That means you should include all this information in the abstract exactly, because the other readers so can easily understand and also get what they need exactly from the abstract. Because the abstract is the summary, and also they give all the informations and the rationale, they give the methods and give the results, they give the conclusion of the paper. Some of the research they read only the abstract. And if you come to the introduction, so the introduction, they have general features. Introduction, I mean, they have two types, like two main purpose. When you write introduction, they have, yet you need to give the readers two. When you read, you have two main purpose. The first one, you need like to make readers interested in the topic. That means you need to get attention of the readers to let them to read your paper. And the second purpose, that means you need to give the reader enough information just to understand the article, so to understand the topic generally. But introduction actually like usually achieve this by, if you need introduction, that means you should start the introduction with the broad information. Broad information, that means what is already known about the topic. That means this is the literacy review about the already done in this topic. Just to provide the general information about already know, and just to come narrow down to specific information. That means you need to give specific information about what is still unknown. That means this is a gap. And this is the gap of the problem that this author, or you try to solve it, or you try to fill this gap. And finally, you will conclude this introductions by reaching to the focal point. Exactly, you will put the questions. That means the question that means the author ask and also answer. Sometimes you will find the authors, they put the question, sometimes they put the hypothesis, and sometimes, and also the readers can expect this one. Like authors typically they describe the previous research that contributed to the current understanding. That means this is broad. They try to describe the previous research already done. And also the second part, they place their work, their own work, like specifically within the context of the field. So where did the gap, and try to put some question or some hypothesis. So before you're reading the introduction, there are some questions. So I put some questions, it seems like as guidelines, but we'd like to help you just to understand the introduction and to get what you need to exactly. Because the first thing you need to know, like, what is the article's purpose? So what is the purpose being stated in the introductions? And also, why would these articles interesting or interest to the expert in the field? That means the authors also write something about this one. So why interesting? That means this introduction, it fills some gap, or just try to solving some problems. And also when you read this, you need to know like what is already known about it, what is already known, and what is not known about this topic. That means the author describe, they give the general overview about the topic is already done, and try they try to describe the what is still not knowing. That means they try to describe the problems, and then finally what is a specific hypothesis that author try to test it. And if it is like is not given the hypothesis, that means what is the expectation of the authors that try to get it from these papers. So having this question in your mind when you're reading a scientific paper, this will help you to gain an understanding the articles at the word, because also like a good research articles that mean it answer all these questions in the introductions, and also be consistent with their explanations through the test of the articles or the rest of the articles there. So that means even you the readers. So when you write a new papers, you should put this question in your mind when you read, because the other authors also, they have different questions, but also you can expect the question of your reader or your audience. That means just try to answer different questions that are looking for it. The feature of methods. So like the methods, they have general explanation should be in the method. Some of the authors, they try to explain the experiments conducted just to address some questions instead in introductions, or try to collect this data, describe the method used, even the collection of the data by interviewing or collecting or using questionnaires, but different type of method they're using to in this research. They try to explain that one, because this one, even the other researcher can replicate or can use the same method. So this section sometimes also challenging to read or to understand this one, especially for graduate students who don't know or don't have different or enough backgrounds about the topic. Because sometimes because the technical language, and sometimes the language is difficult to understand, and also the detailed descriptions necessary for another scientist to repeat the experiment. So that means you need to give a different details, or in each papers you will find a difference or detailed description about each method, but they try to explain this one. Maybe the other authors can replicate this one or repeat this one easily for the research. And also carefully, as you readers, carefully read these method sections, because it will help you to understand the experiments design, and also just to assessing the validation or the validity of the experiment. So this experiment is good enough to testing, or just to answer these questions, or they're the better way to design a new experiment. You will get better answer for these questions. So before you reading this method, there are some questions you should put it in your mind, so that if you put this question in your mind before you reading, it will be easily when you read. That means you can extract. We are looking for what you need exactly to answer this question. So you need to know what is the specific informations, what is the specific methods used by researchers in this study. You need to know the methods, different methods used, why they use this one, and also does the researcher provide a coherent and viable plans for their experiments. That means they give details information about the different methods used, and needed to understand, and or another authors can replicate this one. And also, have the authors missed any variables that could affect the results, and also on their findings there. If they miss one, and then that means you will be carefully when you write a new paper. That means you should include these variables. So this variable also can affect their results there. And also you should put in your mind how do the method in this articles compare to with the similar articles? Is it the same? If these authors also use the same method used by other researchers, or other you find this method in different articles you read before, or not. So when we come to the result section, so the general features of the result. So the result sections presented different, because in this result only you will find the author's statement of findings. So they put their finding then the table figures in a different way of visualization. That means also the reference to data using the visuals, as I mentioned, like figures and the tables. And generally, they try to avoid the comparisons to the other result in this section. This section is only the result. They try to explain the results, but without comparing to the difference. Comparing it will be in the discussion section. So why you should read the result? Because the results they can give you, because the figures. So if you read the figures and table figures, sometimes yes, you need to know the graphical data representation. So sometimes maybe different styles of figures. So what is better figures that so also like that I can use it in my study. Tables, sometimes you will find the structure of the data, like all the data representation of this one, and also the captions. So the caption of each figures and the tables, the title. So these captions, because they give you visual data descriptions. So what mean by these figures, what mean by these tables, and also the legends. So the legend and the figures, or that explanation and the context, that sometimes you need to look for the legends of the figures and just to know like if the axis is good or not good. So in this section of the results, they have also put some question that I hope like this question can help you just to understand these sections, because you should look for like how does the result related to hypothesis is said in the introduction, because some authors they can put the hypothesis. Is this result related to the hypothesis or not? Is there any correlation between this result and the hypothesis, or this hypothesis supported the, or this result supported the hypothesis, or they contradict the hypothesis? It is support or not support? And if there's a difference from the hypothesis, if the result is different from the hypothesis, so are you able to identify like what is the differences did researchers find? And are the findings described like in unbiased way? So when the authors come to describe the result, so the authors describe this result in unbiased way or biased way. But some of the authors sometimes they did bias. They can describe some result. So because this result is give good result, they try to describe it, but they try to exclude or just to ignore the different the other result. So for the discussions, so also the discussion, they have different features of discussion. For discussion is, this is a place of findings, that mean the finding within the context of the broader field. In this section also you will find the authors try to compare its results with the other study, with other research results, and also provide a clear answer to the questions so proposed in the posed in the introductions. That means also in these sections, authors try to explain how the results support these conclusions of the study, and also comparing with different study already did, and not then also try to explain like how the results is agree with some other results of different authors, or how they're different from them. So before you reading, also you should put this question in your mind when you read the section of discussions. That means you need to know like, is there any new information presented that you will not know before? Is there any new information that you don't know before? Because you read a lot of papers, that means you know that different articles, and you know the result and different information provided in that article. So if there any new informations you find in this paper, but you did not find in that in other papers, is the research also unbiased in their presentations? Like unbiased, like these authors also try to explain their result properly, or presented, or these sections clearly and unbiased way? And also, what is the real world implication of the findings? So what is the implication of this work? What is the contribution of this work in the field? Because like more research needed, because some of them that they try to explain, like they put this statement, more research needed to be done, because the findings show that the solutions to knowing problems, or that the still gap, it need more research to be done just to solving this problem. And also like some of them they can try, so what is the suggestions are made about the future plan, right? The authors try to put different suggestions for the future research. If there is not suggestion made, you should there be. if the authors that did not mention any suggestion for the future research, can you suggest, or just you expect like this in this section should be some suggestion for future research, because you know the gap, and you know like this information or this result is not fully supported the hypothesis or just solving the problem, but you think that there the different way or different, or like just there's many research needed to be done to solving this problem. But generally, so when we come to the typical structures, because some of the journals or some of the articles you will not find the MRAD structure, like you will not find introduction, method, result, discussions, whatever format. For example, if you read letters, so letters that don't have these sections or different sections, but they start their abstract directly by the, and then following by the main body. So they try to just to writing by abstract and then follow it directly by the main body of the work, and then including the abstract, they provide the summary, or also they give extensive information just to attract the reader about this field, and also begin to describe their experiments in the following paragraph automatically. So like when you read articles like this, because when you skim, that means you need to get overview about the general structure or the entire structure of this. So where is the abstract and where the main body, what is the method, and what is the result? Because they read like letters. So letters, you will not find different sections written by this one. Because also you need to check if the sections are clearly labeled, that they put different sections clearly labeled. If not, are you able to identify the structure of these articles? And also be able to determine which sections are most important to read or most essential for understanding of the body of the, just understanding the word articles. And at that time, because if you're able to clearly label it, we identify the different sections, which section is most important, that means you will be able to decide what is the best order for reading each section. So you should start by abstract, or you should start by conclusions, or like you will decide which best sections you can start from. Like if we come to the main point, so even the articles, they have the different points, so it's not easy to distinguish between this point. Like because the articles contain a lot of information, or also it is maybe like difficult to distinguish the main point of each articles of this article from the subordinating or just ordinating points. Fortunately, also there are many indicators, so you can use it to help you to distinguish between different points. So different points. The first point is the document level. So based on the document level, that means we should focus on the titles, title, abstract, and the keyword, and also you will go directly to visualize. That means you were looking for, especially for figures, and the tables, titles, and also just you will look for the sentence side, for the last one or two sentences of the introduction. This one is the base, so this is the main. That means you will get exactly the general overview of the information. So when we come directly to the paragraph, so the paragraph there, the word or phrase to look for it, like phrase, sometimes you will find the authors, they're writing surprising, unexpected something, and then also in the contrast with the previous word or contrast with the previous research has seldom been addressed. So we hypothesize that, we propose, we introduce, we develop. That is a guess. So this keyword, if you are looking for this keyword, you will find all the authors of some of the authors that they mentioned this paper. That means you will get what exactly within the paragraph. So after you reading at scientific articles, you read all the scientific articles, that means you should ask yourself these questions. It's the general question. So what specific problems does this research address? That means you need to know, like, When you read that, mean you'll be able to identify the problems that authors try to solve it and why this problem is important. And also, if the method section is good one, like the method used by this research is good, or in this research is good or not. If not, what is the best? And also, what is the main specific findings? So what are the specific findings? That means you'll be able to identify the main findings of these articles. That means, are you able just to ask yourself, I am able to summarize this in one sentence or two sentences? Can just to summarize the main findings? And also ask yourself, like, are the findings provided in this paper support by the observatory evidence or not? Is there an alternative way just to interpretation of the data that authors did not address? Because the authors sometimes they can be biased, so they try to explain some results, but other results they ignore other results. So if there's any better way or alternative way that author can follow to describe this one, or you know the better way, also you will be able to describe this result or just to interpret this result better. And how are the findings unique, new, or unusual, or supported of the work of other work in the field? If this result or findings is unique, and also these findings can support other work in the field or not. And also ask yourself, like, when you read, and then you should answer this question because you already read the paper. That means, how does this result related to the work you're interested, or I am interested in it? Like, if I am reading this paper, that I will know, like, this paper is related to my work or not, or related to other work I have already read about it. And also, what is specific application? So application or implication of these ideas so presented here. Is there any implications in the future, implication on the field, or contribution on the field or not? Also, what are the some further experiments that would answer remaining questions? Maybe still, like, in your mind, you see like there are some questions, so this result is not answered this question itself. But what are the some further experiment that author should do? If they did this experiment, it will answer the remaining question of these articles. And after you reading, also, like, you will be able to write reflections and criticism. That means, are you agree? Because you already read the papers. Like, are you agree with the author's rationale for setting up the experiment as they did? Because the authors, they did one experimental, sometimes they are rational. So for setting up this experiment, are you agree with them, or there are a different way also they can do their experiment? So did they perform the experiment appropriately? And if this authors also did this experiment appropriately, or there is some mistake the author did within so when they design this experiment? Were there enough experiments to support their major findings? Are there enough experiments, or they need to do more experiments just to support the major findings? Do you see the trend or the pattern in the field and their data? There are the patterns or the trend in the data. Do you see that? And also, do you agree with the author's conclusion? So the conclusion drawn by the authors, are you agree with even these authors, or you will see, like, no, there's better way, like, to writing this conclusion, because the conclusion is not contain all the information. So what is the further questions do you have in your mind? And also, what might you suggest they do next? Because you read and you will be able to suggest future direction or future research, so the other research they can do to fill this gap. And this is the general tips. We will come to general tips. Also, like there's another way, like, so when we come to like to reading a scientific articles, so they're the different, like they're the different way of reading. So generally, because when you read, sometimes you will do this, the like the first pass. That means so the first pass, quickly, that means you will quickly scan all the papers, all the paper, just to see the different content, like to see the title, abstract, and the keyword, introductions, and then to see like the main headings, the section and subsection headings, and then also the titles of the figures and the tables and the conclusion. But this is the general overview, like just to scanning the paper fastly. And this also will take at least like 5 to 10 minutes, like just to scan the paper, just to try to get an overview. Because you look at the different sections, because, and then sometimes just when you read the conclusion and then you skim to the reference. So the reference, so you should read the reference list, because the reference list, you should identify like which reference you already read about it, or this paper you already read it, and what is not like to read it. Maybe like you need to read that one just to fully understand the context of these papers or these topics. And because by the end of the scanning, so when you do fast scanning for the paper, read it the first time. So in this time, by the end of this passing, you will be able, like you should able to answer these questions. So the 5 question or 5 C's, that mean a category. You'll be able to identify the category. So what is this paper? Is the review, or it is primary research? If it is focused on the measurement analysis or describing the prototype, and also the context. So the context, so what other papers related to this one, like to this work. So when it comes to correctness, also are the assumptions reasonable? So the assumptions I have, what is something they did, the author put it, is this reasonable or not? And the contribution, so what is the main new idea or the contribution of these papers? And for the clarity, also you will be able, this when you check it fastly, that means you'll be able to identify if this paper is well written and clearly to understand by the audience, by the readers, or not. Because like using this information, so when you get an answering these questions, like you may decide not to read this paper or to read furtherly if the paper does not interest you. Like the fast scanning, because you know, like if the paper is interesting, to go deeply and then to read the second and third times to get more information or to fully understand the what topics, or just you can decide to leave the paper because this is not like interested. So if the topics out of your interest or out of your expertise or not. And like so even if the paper has that's a weakness or something, or invalid assumptions or not. And the second pass, so this is the first pass, like first scanning. So like the second pass, that means after reading the paper, that means you read the paper and you find this paper interesting and also well written, and you identify the category, you identify the context of the paper and the correctness of the paper, not like even the you are interested to read it more. So the second pass, when you read the second times, that means you should read carefully. That means, but skip details like proof. That means, and in this second reading, you need to take notes. So in the key points, and also to make the comments in the margins of the paper, that means you should write the comments. In this, also examine the figures and the diagram and the graph of the paper and the tables presented in this paper. just close it to check if the axes are labeled well or not. Also looking for the error bars and also confirm the statistical significance of the paper, and also notice if any mistakes or missing details indicating poor quality of that paper. And also to mark the reference, that means you haven't read it, but it is important to to read and then just to understand the backgrounds better. Because this pass is like the second pass sometimes will take 1 hour, so 1 hour, but by the end of the second pass we'll be able to summarize the paper and also the main idea in that paper and evidence verbal in this paper, and also explain if the someone else also in a simple terms. If the other one they ask you like to explain this paper, is easily you can describe this paper and what is the main finding of that paper. And also if this if it's still like do not fully understand the paper, it may be if the like you read the paper for the second time, but still you find yourself like you don't like you did not understand the paper, because this is due because this is there the many new terminology or the methods, the new methods in the papers. Sometimes also maybe the poor writing or unclear explanation so or the different parts of these papers, and also sometimes like feeling tired. Because the feeling tired, I mean, you need to take rest and then back again. But they can also by this one, and then you can either decide it. That means set is aside because this is not essential for me like to read this paper anymore, or retain later to read this paper just for more understandable, just to get more backgrounds. Reading, that means you need to read the about the topic just to understand the general overview of the topic, and also to know the different meaning of the main terminology mentioned in this paper, and then back again to read that one. So just move deeply at the third part if you need like more understanding of this paper. So in the third pass of this paper, that means aim to fully understand the papers, especially if you are a reviewer. That means try to recreate the paper's work by making some assumptions at the authors did, and also compare your recreation to the proper response, post innovations and the heading flow. But also pay close attention to every details mentioned. That means the challenge, because that's the challenge is the assumptions of the authors make, and think also about how you would present each idea, like to improve the clarity or rigors of the data. That means also you need to get to gain insightful. So that means from this passes, because this is a shared passes, just to identify the effectiveness techniques and the presentation methods, also to add your own skills, because you already read and understand the different part of this paper, and also not ideas for further research. That means because there's a gap mentioned in this paper, but also this is good without the limitation. So when you read the next paper, you will avoid this limitation. I'll try to solve this one. And also the time required, like before, beginners also might take 4 to 5 hours spending reading one paper to understand, fully understanding the papers, and to extract all the information you needed easily. But firstly, I would suggest you like to read, to make a general. So like this general, that means to make a general overview of the paper, just to read it fastly, to scan the paper, reading the title, abstract, and go to the introductions, go to just read the main topics and subtopics, mention the paper and the title of the figures and tables, and go to conclusions. Just will give you the fast overview about the paper, and then also you'll be able to evaluate if the work is good enough, well written, and also those if the assumptions is reasonable. Also you'll be able to identify the category of the paper, and then you can come second times to read the paper just to fully understand all the terminology mentioned in that paper. And if you find any difficulties to understand this paper, that means you need to read about the topic, or you need to read also the reference so listed in this paper. So this reference also, they give you general overview about the topic, and then when you come next time to read the paper, it will be easily for you to to understand it easily and fastly. So the general tips, that means you need to fully comprehending a scientific articles. Also, will not mostly take more than one read. But sometimes don't be encouraged if you read 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. If you don't understand everything at the first times, read the scientific paper. The skills will come on time. So the development will come by practice. That means you should read first time, second time, and the third time. So don't be discouraged if you don't understand from the first time. Also, start with the broad and then come to specific. So begin by understanding the topic as general. That means you need to read about this topic before to try to deep or just to dig thoroughly all the defined points of the author is making in the paper. Sometimes you need to read about the general topics just to understand the topic before you go deeply for understanding each part of the papers. And always also read the tables. That means you need to read the tables, chart, and also the figures. So this will give you the visual overview that will create the methods and the result sections also of the paper, and also will help you to understand the data. And also the authors try to put this one in the papers for reasons. So don't dismiss their importance, with the figures and tables. All this one is very important in the paper. Also, don't be afraid to ask any questions. If you're looking for definitions, if you don't understand the terms or the concepts, also don't be afraid to ask for help or looking for explanation from your colleague and also from your supervisor and from different persons who you trust also this to understand this terminology. So also you can discuss with your peers. So when you discuss with your peers, that means you enhance your understanding of the topic. That means your discussion leading to clearly comprehensive comprehension of the materials there. And also the different perspectives, because when you discuss with your peer, that means that different viewpoints on the research will come. That means you will be able to understand the topic clearly. And also clarification of the confusing point. If you are confusing, if you're reading a paper and then feel yourself there are some sections confusing for you to understand or to differentiate between, and then you can ask your mentor just to clarify this complex concept. And also you will get deeper insight. That means the collaboration just to uncover deeper meaning in the research, and also comprehensive understandings. And that means you will collective effort of the results through the graphs of the study, reading and discussing with others. And then you will be able to understand each paper fastly and also insightfully. And also always try to take different notes. When you read the paper, before you read the paper, you need to understand this content of the paper and also identify the key points. And then also try to take a note for what you exactly identify the key points, and then for the reference, and also highlight this key point and also organize the note in the piece of papers. And finally, when you read the paper, that means you need to review and reflect. That means you read the paper, you take notes, review the notes that you take from this paper, and not reflect the contribution of on the contributions, also this related to the other research or personal research, and also solidify the understanding of this context or the context of the papers, and also just retain this information. So when someone asks, you will be able to describe this. This is the template for taking note in the research articles. That means this is a general idea or general information. So when you read the paper, it's the general information. When you take a note, so the first note, that means you need to take the full citation of the papers, and also the URL at the website of the papers. You need to write the keyword, the general subject of the paper, and a specific subject of the paper. And you need also to write write the hypothesis, methodology, just the main in a few words to describe the hypothesis and the methods, results, and also summarize the key points of the papers. And also you need to just summarize the significance of the field, like relate your work with other work, and also to write some sentence about the importance of figures and table presenting in this paper. And if you have any other comment about this paper, you should write this one. So this comment, it can be like a note in the PDF directly, or you can have another paper or work or a Word document. Just you can write this information there because you will use it later. You will need that one later. So thank you so much for listening to this lectures, and I will hope you enjoy and get benefit from these lectures, and also you will be able to apply these techniques when you read a research paper, and then also you get to understand the paper fastly and at the same time insightfully, and also understand all the content of the paper. So thank you so much.